Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. So today we'll take a very quick look at the overall market, getting lots of questions on it, and that will lead us into the main topic of this one is, what do you do with your portfolio? How do I assess projects when I'm considering adding them into my portfolio? How I assign different risk levels to them. I've done videos on this before, talking about red flags and scams and different things like that. This one today is kind of coming from what we've seen with Flickto during the week, which is a project, or was a project on Cardano. They'd say they're going into hibernation. The reality, in my opinion, is that I don't see this project coming back. Is it a rug pull, soft rug? I'll let you decide that, but I'll give you my opinion on it in this one as well. Timestamps will be below. Share the video out if you think others can benefit. Give it a like, comments down below, even for the algorithm. I do appreciate it. Let's jump into it. Okay, and just before I get into this, I did record a video with the Cornucopias team last night, so I'll have that video out tomorrow. I know some people are waiting on that. We go over everything that's going on with Cornucopias right now. I put some of the community questions to them, as well as talking about details on the land sale that's coming up as well, so make sure you are subscribed for that one. So looking at a very high level look at the market right now, this is the same chart I've shared a few times on Twitter now. So you can see here just trending in around this zone, and this purple bar here, this support area, is something I've had on the chart now for a good while. If you've been following the channel, you'll have seen it many times here already. So since we got above this area, above $30,000 or above $29,000 back in January 2021, you can see this has always been a support area. So here, at this point here as well, 3 times it held up, and we did wick below it here with UST and Terra and everything that happened, but right now just trending in this area here. So it will have to break at some point, and no matter what stats or what metrics or things people throw at you, right now nobody knows for sure what way this is going to break. In my opinion, the longer we stay testing this lower support level, it's great to see support holding up. There's accumulation happening here, but that can only stand for so long. So the more we keep testing down here, the more chance that this break is going to be to the downside. So we'll keep an eye on it, and people asking about ADA, when it's going to go on a run, especially for the Vassal hard fork. A lot of that is dependent on the Bitcoin chart right now. We need Bitcoin to be stable for the ADA price to start moving to the upside and get the benefit of the Vassal hard fork. We need Bitcoin to be really back up trading in around here or pushing to the upside a bit more. We'll keep an eye on that, and I will mention it in a few upcoming videos as well. So moving on then to one of the main topics here is Flickto, which was a project building on Cardano. So I put out a thread here talking about different things that I look for in a project, kind of ways to split your portfolio. So I've put all this into a slide now, so we'll go through that as well. With Flickto, they've come out and said that they are going to be going into hibernation. In reality, what does hibernation mean? They did talk initially about trying to bring the project back at some point, but I don't see the project coming back. Especially, there's been different Twitter spaces since that. I have listened into some of them, got some of the information, and everything here is just my opinion on it. So what I see is there's lots of different letdowns within the project. Looks to be completely mismanaged. There's one co-founder seems to have done some shady stuff as well, dumping tokens on the community and walking away, probably with a decent bag of funds in his pocket as well. But I let people make up their own mind on this. Smart contract audit token, ScatDAO have put together this post here that looks kind of at the financials and some of the stuff that's going on there. Looking at that, they raised over on kick.io, they sold off, what's that, 70 million tokens at 1 cent each, raised $700,000. They also had their ISO, they raised 343,000 ADA in their ISPO. So if you're still actually delegated to their ISPO, you can see here there's still 9 million as I record this sitting in their pool. Make sure you move that out. They are retiring the pool as well. But just on this here, and just on ISPOs as well, a lot of people get into an ISPO and think it's just worth the risk, that you're not losing anything, you're just giving up your ADA staking rewards. And yes, I do agree with that in lots of different cases, but you still should do your due diligence on the project, because when you give up your ADA, as you can see here, now this wasn't even a big ISPO, they didn't raise that much, but 343,000 ADA is still a decent sum of money to raise like this, and the ISPO is a great way for projects to raise funds. But look, when a project raises funds, they raise the funds with the intention, well, we hope they raise them with the intention of building out the project, which comes with bills, wages to be paid, bills, everything like that. So they need to sell off the ADA in order to fund the project. Now, I'm not saying that ISPOs, all of the funds that are raised are immediately sold off or anything like that, but this type of stuff does put downward pressure on the price as well, because if you raised funds, if you held these staking rewards yourself, there's a good chance that a lot less of the ADA would be sold off if it was just people taking their staking rewards themselves. And I think the ISPO model has a lot of benefits, and we will see some really great projects come out of this as well. There's already been some very good projects have raised funds through the ISO model, so it definitely has benefits to it, but there's also risks there. It's not just as risk-free as some people think. Looking at Flickto as well, you see here they've taken their website down, put a small bit of a notice here, not a whole lot there. What I would say on the Flickto team is, from what I've seen, if you go through this here, you can see basically it looks like poor management throughout. No real proper planning has went on here. They're blaming poor market conditions. We're going to see lots of other projects do this over the next while. They'll talk about, oh, the market is too poor, they raised an ADA, didn't sell it, or they raised an other, this isn't just Cardano specific, but they raised funds, they didn't sell them off, and now the funds that they raised are worth 50% or 20%, 30% of what they actually raised. They can't do their projects. They'll make up lots of different reasons why they can't go. So they say here about suboptimal physical planning or fiscal planning. The illegal transfer, this here is something that looks like it's potentially going to go to law enforcement. Illegal transfer of 200 million Flick tokens to a former co-founder on exit, where he then took the Flick tokens and dumped them on the market. So anyone holding Flick who had provided liquidity of Flick and ADA on any of the dexes, then he dumped the whole price down, basically sucked all of the ADA out of the liquidity pools, and he was able to walk off with it, while everyone holding the Flick token was left with a lot of Flick token, but the token was basically worth nothing. So look, I won't go any more into Flickto. One final thing, actually, I would say the team came out then and said they deleted the tweet since, because they got a lot of backlash on it, was they deleted their Discord and come out and said that due to basically the community giving out, they decided to delete it. What I would say to the team is, maybe the guys who are left and they're coming out trying to explain what happened didn't steal the funds like the former co-founder is accused of doing or anything like that, but your community was still basically scammed. They still lost any funds that they put into Flickto, any ADA rewards that they give up for Flickto. They still lost all of that, and you guys are the face of the project. So you need to have that understanding that the community shouldn't be coming back up to you and saying, oh, thanks so much for coming out and explaining everything. They're the ones that were still wronged in this. I know there is lots to this story to be uncovered yet, but that's my thoughts on it. I would say to the team, consider the community. Don't think that they should be just thankful for you coming out explaining it all. Consider that some of them may have lost a substantial amount of money as well. So that leads us on then to what to look at in the current market conditions. As I said, this is not the only project that is going to basically stop and move on. So what would I personally look at myself? Okay, so what I would say is split your portfolio into different risk categories. So coins that you would put as safer, that you think they could go through a bear market, they could be fine, come out the other side, and real long-term projects, then put them in your low risk category. For me personally, I would have a lot bigger percentage of my portfolio in the low risk. Then you have your medium risk, so the ones that have proven something but still have a lot to prove. They mightn't have a full product out there yet. And then you have your high risk stuff, which is probably some more on the DeFi side. And look, I think everyone should have some amount of funds in each risk category, even in the high risk one. The high risk one is the one that generally the project is either going to make you a huge amount of money or you're going to lose everything you put into it. So always play the risks when you are getting involved. So that's assign percentages to each category, and then rebalance your portfolio every few weeks as well. So within the risk category, the high risk one, if one of the projects is really taken off, you're in really big profits there, then what I generally do myself is I try and take out 2x what I put into the project. I might put half of that into another high risk project and then put the other bit into my long term my low risk portfolio there as well, and then I'll leave the rest in the high risk project and see where that one goes as well. Again, that's just the way that I personally do it. Never go all in on one project. Terra Luna and UST has been a big example of this for people lately. No matter how much you trust in a project, we see they had a diehard community, but things can happen outside of the control of the community. So never be all in on one individual project. That includes ADA. Look, I believe in the long-term future of ADA, but I wouldn't have 100% in. There's lots of good projects out there as well to get involved in. Dollar cost average, so DCA. By this, I mean that if you want to invest $1,000, what do? For me, I always split it up. So I DCA into a market and out of a market. So I will never buy everything at one price getting in and sell everything at one price. I always buy in or sell out at different levels of price as well. So an example, if you have 1K to invest, buy $400 at the current market price. Let's say the price of the token is $1. Set a limit order on the exchange for $200 at 90 cents. So this means that if the price drops down to 90 cents, then the exchange will automatically buy another $200 worth for you. Another limit order at maybe 80 cents, another one at 70 cents. And if you look at this then, by DCA, you end up with 1,157 tokens as opposed to 1,000 tokens if you went all in at $1. Obviously, there's risk if the project just shoots off, then you don't get all of the funds in. But this is how you play the lower risk game on this. If the price keeps dropping down, then you end up buying in. Your average buy-in price is a lot lower. And in the current market, these examples here, maybe setting the prices at starting at 80 cents, 60 cents, and maybe down at 40 cents then are better areas to look at, but judge the coin that you're looking to get into as well. So look at what is a project trying to build. The current status versus the roadmap. Have they proved that they can actually build it? Have they hit milestones already? Or are they already behind on the roadmap before you even get involved? Or maybe you're involved in a project, they're not hitting the roadmap. It might be time to cut your losses and get out. Track record, so what they've done in the past, kind of touched on that there. Is what they're trying to build achievable? Is there examples out there already? Do they have a GitHub showing their code? You mightn't understand the code yourself, but generally within the community, there will be lots of people that can actually look at the code and see what it's all about. Competition, do they have competition? Do they have a competitive edge? We look at within the Cardano ecosystem, there is probably 20 dexes building on Cardano. What is the individual competitive edge of each dex? Why would one outperform the other? Why would one token outperform the other as well? The team, are they public, trustworthy? Do they have a track record? And by track record, I don't mean ex-Google or ex-Facebook employee, all this type of stuff. You see that thrown around on team profiles that they've worked at Google or they've worked at somewhere else. If they made coffee at Google or if they were a cleaner in Facebook or something like that, they could still put ex-Facebook or Google employee. So it doesn't really mean a huge amount unless you know exactly what they've done at the companies. Maybe they led a development team there. Then yes, that does have a bit more to it. But always look deeper into what they've actually done before and who the people are behind the project as well. Are they upfront within the community? Are they constantly giving updates within the community as well? They're always good things to have a look at. Is a project open about issues? Every single project has issues, and for me it's about how they react and solve these issues tells a lot. Are they upfront about the issues that they are facing, and what are the solutions that they come up with? So who is backed the team is another big one. So the investors. Some investors are good, some are not so good, and the investing is key here. Investing means that if you have private investors that they don't get all of their funds up front, generally they're vested over 12 to 24 months when they're getting into a project. So that means that once a month or once every quarter, they get a release of the tokens then as well. Look at the vesting schedule in terms of when the project will launch as well, because if the vesting schedule starts before that, then there's a good chance the token price is going to keep dumping every month until they actually have a product as well. Community, have they built up a good community? Is it actually an active community as well? So what we see as well, Social Blade is a very good tool to look at the likes of Twitter and see, has a project gained 1,000 or 10,000 followers in a day. If they have, that's fairly suspect. Again, look at the amount of followers they have versus the interaction on the different tweets. And the same with Discord as well. Look for bots. Basically, is the community real? So backing from knowledgeable people in the space or protocol then as well. So people within the space that you trust or that you follow, are they, or that you consider knowledgeable, are they involved in a project? Do they like a project? Do they give back into a project? Obviously, you can never trust one individual's opinion or anything like that, but use all of this as part of your research and it could be part of the reason you get in, but never use it as the only reason you get into a project, because everyone makes mistakes with the projects that they back as well. Current funding, are they dependent on the market going up? Right now, the market could continue downwards for the next few months. Is the project sustainable? Do they have funds sitting in stable coins that they can use, or are they dependent on upcoming sales as well? Because sales over the next few months, if the market stays as it is or continues down, projects that need to raise funds will have a tougher time doing that as well. Token utility. So what does the token actually do? Why would someone hold the token long term? So you could have an incredible project, one that offers a lot of functionality, but as an investment in the token, then it mightn't be a good investment, because if the token holders aren't incentivized to hold the token, then all you're going to get is sell pressure on the token. So we look at the likes of money markets. I'm a big fan of what they bring, the utility they bring, and how they allow you to use your crypto funds as collateral to get deeper into lots of different strategies as well. But the actual token of money markets, unless you really incentivize, like take the fees that the money market earns and pay it out to holders, or different strategies that are there, if you are not incentivizing people to hold the token, then the token is just going to keep dropping as well. Yes, it will have a big push up when it starts, but when farming and everything like that kicks in, you need something to counterbalance the new inflow of tokens into the market. So be aware of these types of things as well. Partnerships. Do they actually have real world partnerships, deeper working partnerships with other crypto projects rather than just liquidity? We see partnerships announced all the time within crypto of we've partnered with X, but when you actually look at it, basically what it means is we will list token X and they will provide liquidity on our platform. Yeah, that's fine. It's needed for liquidity for trading, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. That doesn't mean that one project is backing the other or is helping build certain aspects. So look for real partnerships there as well. So that's really it. That's all I have on that. I hope this has been some help, some use. If there's any points that I've missed that you like to look for when you're getting involved in a project, do list them down below. It will help others as well. So it's take a look at the comments. There might be other really good parts to put into that as well. And maybe I'll do an updated video with some of the suggestions from the community as well. Please do share it out if you think others will benefit. Give it a like. I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.